Hey there, YouTubers. This is Matt Piak with the Neoprene Playmat. Today is Tastes on Tuesday, where I'm going to be diving into my particular tastes. Essentially, I'll be highlighting some games, some mechanics that fit into my tastes, that do something a little different, that are just a slightly bit different than what's expected. Something that's surprising and interesting. And so today I'm going to be looking at Guardians and Carnival Zombie. Now, at first glance, you might say, how in the heck are these games related? One is like a two-player battling game where you're playing heroes going back and forth, essentially playing capture the flag. Whereas the other one is this sprawling cooperative game where you're working together to essentially try and escape Venice while there are tons of zombies coming after you, and a leviathan is slowly waking up underneath Venice, causing the whole city to submerge in water. And so, at first glance, these two games don't look very similar. And to be frank, they really aren't that similar. But there's one thing that I love about both these games that is very similar, and that is you feel very powerful from the get-go. As soon as the game starts, you're able to do things. In a lot of other games, there's this ramp up, which I can appreciate to a sense. There's when looking at Guardians, the first type of game I think of is something like Ashes or Magic: The Gathering, or these other competitive two-player games where you kind of have to ramp up. You have to get more crystals or more mana, or you have to have more spells out in the case of Ashes. But there's kind of this ramp up where you start out kind of weak and then you slowly progress throughout the game and get better. In Guardians, that's not the case. You come out, you have a hand of cards. Your hand of cards are pretty powerful. They don't change that much throughout the game. While there is the sense that there is some ramp up in that you can use an ultimate ability once per game, there are times where I've been able to do this on the very first turn. So it's not this I have to wait 6 turns to play my most powerful card or anything. This is right from the get-go. It's snappy, it's punchy. And so the way the game works, you pick 3 heroes. Here's kind of this is the base set. They do have one expansion out, and then I believe one is set up for pre-order right now. It might actually be out. I'm not sure. I think it's coming out later this month. I'll have to look into it. But all that said, don't quote me on that. But all that said, you're picking three of these heroes, and they each come with a 6-card deck and an ultimate ability. The ultimate ability sits out on the table. You take the 6 cards from each of the heroes, shuffle them up with some generic cards, and that's going to be your deck for the game. And then essentially you are going to be playing capture the flag, trying to move this flag here over to your side by both knocking out opponents as well as gaining control of the area based on kind of who you have there and the status of what your enemies look like. And so what's fantastic is there are these waves in this game. Just so if I'm Valkyrie, let's say, and I'm able to land the killing blow here on Grave, what's going to happen is this flag here is going to shift 2 spots in my direction, which, being that it would move over to this here tile, that means at the end of the turn I'm going to score this, which is worth 3 points. Now that just felt amazing. I was able to do something really big. I was able to take this large swing at a character, and I was able to score 3 points, which is a lot in the game. 9 points ends the game, so I felt like I did something really big. That said, the second player, or this player, the enemy player's next turn, they're going to be able to place Grave out to one of these locations. They get to choose, so they're reallocating to a new position, and Grave is back to full health. And so, on the one hand, I feel great. I feel like I've done something really big, really powerful. But the enemy player, the character, the person sitting across the table from me, they feel okay because they're able to get right back in the action. Their character is now fully healed, and they're ready to fight. So there's not this like great devastation that comes with the power that's given at the beginning of the game, and that's a really tricky balance. How do you make a player feel super powerful while also having the player across the table feel like it's not going to just ramp up and lose if they make one mistake, right? There's kind of this ebb and flow where, man, I did something super powerful, but then they came right back and hit just as hard. And I think in these two-player games especially, that's really hard to accomplish. Most of the dueling card games I've played, there are big swings that'll end up creating opportunities to add and add and add upon your victory. Whereas this one, it's back and forth. It's I made a huge move, but then you made a huge move, and now I've made a huge move. And so this constant swinging, this powerful action, just feels really balanced and really smooth. And so let's look at Carnival Zombies because it does a similar thing. I gotta love this first printing. This zombie's so gross. But and I mean, look at these. These are your fighters over here. This is who you're using. You're trying to defend things. Venice is sinking. You got all these guys coming out. It's thematically fantastic. But yeah, this is kind of the same thing as Guardians. As soon as you put your players down on the map, you feel super powerful from the get-go. You got people that are wiping out huge zombies or even hordes of zombies that are moving in on your territory here. It's kind of tower defense-y in how it feels. You're all set up here, and then around these different portions of the board, there's going to be waves of zombies, which are represented by cubes. And so as they move in, you're going to be shooting them up. You start out the game with like machine guns and sniper rifles, all sorts of stuff. You're just ready to get out there and devastate things. Whereas in a lot of these zombie games, it's like, oh, I have a knife. What am I gonna do? I gotta search and search and search, and maybe I'll find a pistol, and then 30 minutes into the game, I might find a machine gun or some form of rifle that's better than the pistol. In this game, they're like, no, here's a sniper rifle, here's a shotgun, here's a machine gun, mow down some zombies. And so throughout the game, you just feel really, really powerful. Now, there are items that make you even more powerful throughout the game. And that's important to note, but it doesn't have the same ramp-up feel that these other games have. You feel really great at the beginning. You don't feel like you're starting out in a place where you're heavily disadvantaged. You're like, man, I'm right on par with these zombies. And you say that for about the first 20 minutes of the game, and then more and more zombies get put on the map, and you certainly become overrun rather quickly. This game is definitely difficult. But as a cooperative experience, it's great to be like, I'm the sniper and I can contribute to the team. I'm the only one that can shoot to the back row without worrying who's in front and all of these little things, right? The machine gun guy is just mowing down zombies left and right, and the guy with the shotgun is just blasting people apart. They're all in the same zone, so you feel super powerful, and I think that's really engaging about games when that can be achieved. I think it's probably easier to do in a co-op because in a cooperative game, if everybody feels super powerful from the get-go, it's not that hard to. There's not this balancing act. You just make the cardboard more difficult. And you'll be hearing that term a lot. Anytime I'm playing a co-op, we're always playing against the cardboard. So yeah, you just make the cardboard more difficult to defeat. And all of a sudden you feel powerful, but the enemy just feels even stronger. And that adds to the excitement of the game. In Carnival Zombie specifically, you're not chucking dice or doing anything like that sometimes makes you feel powerful based on the fact that you get this great roll, you hit the 6, you hit 3 6s or something like that. In this one, you already know how much combat damage you can deal. Certain characters hit more zombies, whereas others can shoot at further ranges and things like that. but it's all calculated. So you feel super powerful. You know exactly what you're going to be able to take out every single round, and that's a great feeling. And going back to Guardians, from the very beginning, you're able to do big things. You're able to try and take over and capture flags. When you can land a flag capture in the first or second turn for something worth 2 or 3 points, it just feels like you've done something really big. But if you're on the receiving end of that, if somebody does that to you, you never feel out of the game. You have enough power right from the get-go. There's not this crazy ramp where somebody was able to get everything going before you and just devastate you that way. And so I think this is a very, very interesting design choice. What are some games that you've experienced where all the players seem really powerful from the get-go, but it still feels balanced? You feel powerful, and when somebody does something powerful to you, you don't necessarily feel out of the game. I'd love to hear it. I love this mechanic. I love this feeling. Um, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Keep on gaming, and thanks for joining us on the Neoprene Playmat.